Today's guests are proof that you can break free from the 9 to 5 grind and build real success in real estate. These ladies left their 9 to 5 jobs chasing real estate freedom dreams quickly to find out that consistent clients weren't as easy to come by as they thought. Once they discovered probate real estate, joined my mentorship program, and started using my probate scripts, what were the results? Well, these ladies got 7 probate listings, all from cold calling. Now, as the above and beyond team with eXpRealty, they are living proof that probate real estate is a complete game changer for every agent needs to pay attention to. So I'm going to be posting their social medias below so you can connect with them directly and you can match their same success and partner with us inside the Absolute Top Dollar Probate Mentorship. So without further ado, please help me welcome Nancy and Sabrina. Hello, everyone. So excited to be with everybody today. And we got an amazing interview with a very successful agent. And I'm proud to say they're part of Absolute Top Dollar Probate Real Estate Training. And I can't wait for you guys to hear their story and hear all about their successes, especially in probate real estate. Nancy and Sabrina, so happy you guys are here today.
Hi, thank you for having us, Carolyn.
Yes.
Thank you. If you wouldn't mind just sharing with everyone a little bit about yourselves, where you guys come from, and before we get started.
Yeah, sure. My name is Nancy. I'm with eXpRealty. I've been with them for, I think, like a year now, and I've been an agent for almost 2 years. And before doing real estate as an agent, I was in the business doing fix and flips. And yeah, so I transitioned into the agency world.
Nice, nice.
And then I'm Sabrina. So I'm also at EXP. Our team name is actually Above and Beyond team. So find us on Instagram. But I've been an agent now for about 6 years. I started with investment properties and then now branched into what we're going to be talking about, probate. So we're both certified probate real estate agents. And I actually got into it as you know, I got into real estate first by actually trying to buy a property. That didn't work. It wasn't the right time. So then I decided I'm gonna learn this stuff myself and then just jumped in full forward. So
Wow.
that's a little bit about us.
Thank you, thank you. And it's so interesting that both of you guys got in starting from the investment world versus just like, oh, I want to be a realtor and go get your license. So if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about that. So you guys just wanted to start investing in properties. You said you were fixing and flipping. And then what led you to actually then go get your real estate license?
Sure. So when I was doing fixing and flipping, to be honest, I had no clue what I was doing. I was fumbling and figuring it out as I went along. And then I realized I was like, I'm just hiring people to, represent me and buy, sell and stuff like that. And then I thought I've done this enough, or at least I thought I'd done it enough, where I could learn to do it for myself too and learn all the ins and outs of real estate. And so I got my license and here we are.
So you basically just got it because you were gonna just self-serve yourself. So you were gonna use it to buy your own properties and use it to sell your own properties. But at that point in your stage of it, you weren't thinking about actually serving people in their real estate needs.
Right. I didn't go into it thinking like I'm gonna be a real estate agent and
Yeah.
sell like 10, 20, 30 homes a year. Yeah.
What did you do before real estate even?
I was in corporate. I was in a 9 to 5 in the finance industry. And at one point, I felt like it was sucking the soul out of me. So
Mm,
that's when I was like, okay, maybe I'll look into agency seriously, and then I could do that and leave my 9 to 5 and get my soul back.
get yourself. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. So you had worked a 9 to 5, you started getting into, I think, like what a lot of people see, like those like late night infomercials or now on YouTube, and people fixing and flipping properties. And when you're stuck in that 9 to 5, you're always looking for like a way out of it, right? And
Mhm.
so it sounds like that's where you were saying I can invest in real estate. And I know you girls have some wholesaling in your background too. I remember when you first got started. What about you, Sabrina? How did you actually end up getting your license and, you know?
Yeah, so my background's in biology and biotech. So I was working in the pharmaceutical industry for a few years, and I was a supervisor for this radiopharmaceutical, but I had no life. I was managing like three different shifts, and I decided at that point that I was like gonna try to buy a house, and I couldn't because of my work. And so then I just quit. I was just like, I hate this job. I felt like I wasn't progressing. Like inside of me, I didn't feel happy. And
Mm,
so at that point, I was like, I need to do something. I need to find something. And I always wanted more from life. Like I always wanted to reinvest from my career. And so at that moment, when I did try while I was in the job, the agents that I was working with, I didn't trust them because they were just putting me at whatever house. And at that point, I was like, okay, the job's not working for me. The agents are not working for me, but I still want to buy real estate and I want to know how to invest. So that's what turned me into studying. So when I quit my job, I studied to be an agent. I became an agent and then joined a team that was specifically for investment properties. And then
mm,
from there, I started to learn about investments, helping investors, and then, bought my own properties and stuff, which is great. I was able to quit my career and then, that kind of got old. And I turned into, probate because at that point, the investment side wasn't really fulfilling. It's not that it's terrible or anything like that. It's definitely, a great place to be and an environment to be in, but I wasn't serving anything. I was just kind of helping people buy multi-families over and over and over, and it was starting to become stale. And
mm.
so Nancy, came and kind of brought, this it actually introduced me to you. We had a speaker that talked about probate, and we started digging and digging and digging. And then, well, like everything just came into place. But when we found you, like, it was like, yeah.
I remember I found Carolyn on YouTube and I was like binge watching your videos and I'm like, Sabrina, you gotta check this lady out. You
Yeah.
gotta check her out.
Yeah, and we only knew like surface stuff. So like what we knew wasn't getting us to where we are now. And so that's why meeting you was such a significant like breakthrough for us because I felt like we were just making it, not even making it. We were just like at this, like when you're at the hospital and there's like a line and it's like flat. Well, that's kind of a bad reference, but it was basically like that. We just weren't getting anywhere else. And then we met you, and that changed.
Yay,
Yeah,
that's awesome. And I love that about your stories because I think it resonates with so many people, right? Like we all kind of, most people don't just like start off as an entrepreneur or just start off, getting their own
Mhm.
business. Like we typically, grow up, turn 18, either you go to college or you get to work, and you just you start in a career, you start working. And because that's what you're supposed to do, but then when you get there, you're kind of like, okay, after the money only covers you for so long, and then you're just like, I hate my boss, I hate my manager, like
Exactly.
I want to take a vacation, I can.
Right.
Where I was, the last job that I had, I even had to ask to go to the bathroom. I was like, how old am I? You know what I mean?
Right.
But I worked, it was a phone sales job, so it was very much like they had to have people in queue. So it was like, in order to use the bathroom, you had to like ask somebody, like, can I use the bathroom? And I remember thinking, like, this is like ridiculous. You have to ask somebody to use the bathroom? So it just, it's so important, that part of your story, because it just, so many people are in that same situation. They're in a 9 to 5 job, they're wanting something more, and that could be scary, right? Like, how did you guys even have like the confidence and the courage to be
Mhm.
like, I'm quitting and go to your real estate dreams? What did that look like?
How did I have the confidence and courage? Honestly, I didn't have full confidence or courage because I was scared. It was scary. I did the 9 to 5 for so long. I was comfortable there, and there was that sense of safety, right? And then to take the so-called leap of faith was like the unknown. I was so scared, and there were days when I was like, should I do it? Should I not? And I realized if I don't make the decision, I'm gonna be in the same place year after year after year. And I didn't want that. And what changed was when I read the book by Napoleon Hill, How to Think and Grow Rich. And he
Yeah.
says to burn all bridges. So when you burn the bridges, the only way you could go is forward. And I was like, well, I'm burning this bridge. Ain't no going back. And I was like, whatever happens, I know I have the resources to figure it out. I'm good.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's so beautiful. Wow. So burn the bridge. Yeah. What about you, Sabrina?
um, um,
'Cause you
I
have a college degree. I mean, you went to college.
right. It was. I went to. I mean, I went to college. I've always liked science, so I went to this college to do science. I got my master's, and I just got to the point where I was like, "What am I doing with my life?" Right? And I wasn't enjoying the job, and it kept hitting me, where I was getting to the point where it's like I need to change something. And the one thing that's causing me this issue is this job. So, from a financial standpoint, always save, right? And so I definitely saved as much as I can. I even had a bonus, saved that too. And then I felt a little more comfortable taking that leap. And then the other thing is confidence, being confident that you can make it out of there even if you don't have that steady income. Like you are capable of doing many things. And I believed in myself and I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go get my exam. I'm going to pass it. I'm going to be a real estate agent. And here we are today. So, believe in yourself. We are capable of many things as long as we put our, heart and mind to it. So, that
Yeah,
was
and
it.
I think that's what makes you guys such a good team, together
Mhm.
because you've got, Nancy that's burning the bridge.
Yeah.
Nancy's like, the
Fire.
hell with it, burn the bridge. And then you're like, I saved up, I had my savings. You made like more of a calculated decision,
Mhm.
And I think that honestly, that's what most people have to do within themselves. So like for me, like when I did that, I also like I was like, okay, I need how much money do I need? So I was like 3 months, like from beginning to end in real estate, we're always like 90 days away from a paycheck. So it for me, it was my husband that really gave me the courage and the confidence to step
Mhm.
out, because I've been a realtor since I was 18. And then when my kids finally all were in school and everything, I went back into it more full time. I had already had gotten into a job. And so I was working a 9 to 5, making good money doing phone sales. That company went away to North Carolina, and then it was like put me in a position where I had to make a decision like, what do you want to
Mhm.
do? And
Mhm.
that's when my husband was like, no, go into real estate. And I was like, there's like no paycheck guarantee in that.
Right.
So, and it's sometimes even someone else believing in you, can really help, push you forward. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm going to save up at least 3 months of what I need to pay my bills at
Mhm.
that time. And
Mhm.
then as soon as I get that, I'm just jumping off. So for me, I kind of did both, like
Yeah.
I had the little savings and then I burnt the bridge,
Yeah.
and I just went for it. So it's really cool to hear kind of your same stories. And I think people do that in one person, but you guys kind of each had, those
Mhm.
strengths individually. So that's really neat.
Yeah.
So
And
let's jump
she did
into
save she did save money
Oh,
too.
I
So
did.
she
Yeah.
did save money. But I
okay.
I just said it because it's very important because you can't just go and, throw yourself out there without
Mhm.
having something to rely on because this world is expensive at the end of the day. But I did want to point out she did have, you
Fine.
know.
We'll put it on the charts. Nancy did have a savings because the way she made it sound is she just lit a
Yeah, no,
match
no,
and
I was like, and I'm over here giving all the details. Yeah, no, yeah,
No, but yeah,
yeah.
because when you're getting into real estate, right? Like agents
Hmm.
watching this, right? And they're
Right.
interested in us to get into real estate. And that's something you have to consider. Like there is no
Hmm.
guarantees in this. There
Right.
is no 100%. Like how many transactions have you had that you get the listing, you get the sale, and it still doesn't close, right? Like there's literally no guarantees in real estate, but
Right.
what is a guarantee? Your mortgage is coming every month.
Right.
Your utility bills coming every month,
Right.
and if you don't, I think I always give that advice for new agents that are joining. I always say you need at least 3 to 6 months of
Mm.
because otherwise you're not going to really make it. I see a lot of agents doing part-time, so they work
Yeah.
a job and then they're building this on the side, so I've seen that strategy work. But yeah, it's especially when you're first getting started, that's what we're going to jump into now, which is kind of like that struggle phase. It's like you have
Hmm.
the dream, right? Like
Hmm.
you wanted to leave the 9 to 5. You were like, I want something more. So you've got the dream,
Right.
you
Right.
got the license, and then what happened next? Like now you're actually going out to do it. Share a little bit about that of what was like your first days and months look like when you actually got your license and now you're walking in your dream.
Yeah.
So the brokerage I joined, which was where I met Sabrina, and I went to their meetup, and I was like, wow, this team is great. I like what they stand for. They're really for investors and stuff like that, and I still think they're great. The only thing was I didn't realize it, but I sat there and I was like day after day, and I was like, when is my next sale coming? So in a way, I was so new where I didn't realize like, girl, you gotta be out there finding, getting these leads. I was thinking like, oh, the company's gonna give it to me. So once in a while, I was like, wow, I just got lucky. I got one. But that's not sustainable. That's not sustainable. So that's when we heard about probate and we were like, hmm, came across your videos. And essentially, it's like you're building your business off of something that's sustainable and unlimited. Like the all of the leads are there every single week. You just gotta go out and get them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh.
It's like we dropped everything for probate. Um, and
Yeah,
then
I was gonna share, it's so funny what she said is I had one time this agent and she was just brand new, had joined the office. This was like back in the days, and then she was like, so like how does this work? Like when do the customers come in? Like and I'm
right.
like, sweetie, it doesn't work that way anymore. People are not coming in, to get real estate help. Back in the days when there wasn't the internet, yes, real estate offices did have a priority, right? You wanted to get help with real estate, you had to go into a brick and mortar office to get the information. But now with the internet, like people barely even seek a realtor, right? Because they can get the information on Zillow, realtor.com, all the things. So it's funny when you get your real estate license, it's all about the laws, this, that. Nobody ever talks about, well, when you get into it, now you've got to actually create a lead flow. You've got to create a way to get business every single day. And when you sell one house, guess what? You're unemployed again,
Hmm.
and you need to get another one, you know.
Right.
So, what about you, Sabrina? How was that for you when you first got started?
Yeah, so when I first started, like I was saying earlier, I was looking for someone with specifically investments. So that's how I found my mentor then, which we still have a very good relationship. But that first year was a little tough, but not as tough as it could have been. I had a great mentor. So the first thing for me was finding someone that's going to teach me. And I just learned everything that I could. If he was going to Dunkin' Donuts for a meeting, I was going to Dunkin' Donuts for a meeting. Like if he was going to some random house that was falling apart, I was going to the house. And so that helped me, to grow as an investor and also as an agent because I was able to learn. But those first few months, that's where you learn the most. And you're not going to see a sale right away because you're learning, you're training, and then from there, it's up to you how much work you put into it. But my first few months was really just about learning and following my mentor.
Yeah, and there's a lot to be said about that because, like we said, nobody's getting paid in real estate.
Right,
Like it's not like you can get paid training,
right. No,
right?
I didn't get paid training.
Like you've got to pay for training.
Right,
I mean, like you've got to hire a coach or you have to pay with your time, right?
exactly. Yeah.
And so even the fact that you had the opportunity, so I think a lot of agents miss that, in real
Hmm.
estate, is they miss the opportunity just to work with somebody else that's successful. The fact that you got the opportunity to even
Right,
follow him around and go to those houses
right,
with him, so I think it's important for a mindset is like when you're first in this business, any opportunity you have to just go along with somebody, there's nothing in it for you, right? Financially.
right, right.
It wasn't like he was saying, "Hey, Sabrina, come with
Yep,
me." You know what I mean? And I'm going
right,
to give you a piece of my deal.
right.
Some of the agents that have had applied that with me and working with me, and they just like, where can I go? Where can I go? Where I see they have succeeded the fastest. But the
Right.
agents that are saying, "What's in it for me?" They got
Mm,
it all mixed up,
right, right,
because to the outside, I think from the outside world, people don't realize how much goes into real estate and
right.
how much, hustle and follow up and cold calls and,
Hmm.
reschedules and appointments and deals fall through.
Work.
They just see like the Instagram reels sold again, And so really being able to kind of just shadow somebody through, I mean, that makes all the difference.
Mhm.
At the beginning, I think probably what most agents have the hardest time with is like, you think about real estate, it's one of the most expensive
Mhm.
transactions that a human being will do for the most part, hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is not like a little sale here, and for a seller or somebody that owns property to trust somebody that has no experience to handle, hundreds of thousands of dollar asset, that's your biggest problem at the beginning is you have no skin in the game, you have no experience. But if you have the opportunity to mentor and coach under somebody, it's you could use their experience as your experience. So as you're
Right.
following that guy around, you're able to now talk with that knowledge, even like in our group, right? Where we're
Mhm.
talking about, hey, I went on this appointment, this happened to me at this consultation.
Right. Mhm.
Now you can use that in your day in a life, and because you're living the experience through your mentor, right?
Right.
But you either have to like again pay to play or you got to spend the time. And if you don't do either, you're really stunting your growth because
Right.
it's not like college, you got to go years to college, you got to pay and do time, right? So I think that was really wise what you ladies did and how you kind of centered into it. So let's get into it. So we talked about, so it sounds like you guys were doing deals here and there, right? Like you were popping deals, but you didn't really have like a exact strategy or like every day when you got up, like
Right.
how am I going to get my next deal? It was kind of like you just kind of like stumbled on one deal and then, and I think a lot of realtors can resonate with that. When you first get into real estate, you tell everybody you're in real estate. Well, it just so happens to be that your grandma needs to sell her house. And then it just so happens to be that your brother's buying a house, right? So we kind of get like those few little deals by like our initial connections, but then once you kind of go through all of that, then it's like, well, how do I do this as a business? Like every single day I'm doing deals. So how I'm curious before we get into exactly probate, but how did you even start learning about probate? Like where did probate even enter your life or your mind?
Yeah. So It started, so I used to host a meetup, which is where Nancy and I met. And was one time that a speaker came in and they had, kind of talked to me about probate before on the phone before their presentation. So I listened, obviously we listened to that presentation, but even after he kept talking to me about it, and I was like, you know what, this sounds pretty interesting. I'm like, let me dig a little deeper. So then I started digging deeper and started seeing different things. And then I shared it with Nancy, and then Nancy started doing her own research. And then it was just floodgates of information. And then we found you.
Yeah. And what was it about the probate when you started looking into it? What was it that you liked? Because there's a lot of avenues realtors can take out there,
Yes.
right? Like you could be
Yeah.
bombarded with which direction to go. What
Yeah.
was it about probate that just kind of like resonated with you?
Um, Two things. For me, my mom actually went through a probate and I didn't even know at the time. I found that out through this experience that it was a probate. But and then two, it felt so unique and untapped and not easy to get to. I don't think people would do the amount of work that we have put into this.
Mhm.
And for me, I thought the research and learning about it was interesting. And it's kind of like what Sabrina mentioned, where we've probably come across probate properties or know of someone who's dealt with it, but because we're so unfamiliar with it, we don't recognize that. And
Mhm.
it's not until after we got into probate that I realized this house that I bought was through probate.
Wow. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the time when I bought this house, I just knew like it's something about the court. I had to wait for approval, so it may just take a while. That's all I knew about it, not realizing like now, knowing what I know, it's because oh, he died intestate. There was no will. They had to go gather the heirs. That's why it took a while. And with the court getting the petition, that's why like
Oh
4 years later,
God.
it's like a full circle. I'm like, wow, okay.
It feels like it almost feels like for each scenario, you're doing an investigation.
Yes.
And at one point in my life, I wanted to be a forensic scientist. So this feeds my little science self here.
Yeah.
Because it does feel like a little bit of an investigation. And I know that she's gotten down like a barrel hole where she just like just research. Like she's a research queen.
Yeah, and I'm like, what is the
And
tea?
I just put it together. She's like finders keepers. Yeah, that's how we got to that.
And
That's
it's
so
so
crazy how
interesting.
like probate like was a part of your life before you even knew it.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Like that's really
Yep.
interesting. Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
interesting. And me the same, like I didn't know what probate was. Like most people, like nobody like knows what probate is until either you deal with it on a personal level.
Mm-hmm.
And then even if you're a realtor, sometimes realtors will come across probate, but exactly like perfect testimony of when you bought your house. Like you were going through a probate, but you didn't even really
No.
understand. You just knew, and I think that a lot of realtors that happens to them, they pass through probate and they don't even realize, that they're in probate. Oh,
Right.
I think you're frozen. I'll wait till wait, you guys are frozen. Hold on. There you are. Kind of. Okay, we're back. Awesome. So, oh, now you're frozen again. Hold on.
Mm,
Are you back? Can you?
I can hear
You're a
you.
We can
little
hear you.
frozen on your end. Now you can hear? Okay. On the
Yeah.
screen, it's just a
Yeah.
little bit. Oh, I think we're back. Perfect. So tell me a little bit about so had you done any probate cold calling or probate marketing or probate deals or anything with probate? You started off researching it, you went to a meetup, someone told you about probate, you started researching. Before you met me, had you done any probate deals or tried to do probate before you met me?
If we've done any deals, no. We did start cold calling and sending out some mailers though, right?
Yeah, we got to the point of like even seeing some properties,
Mhm.
but we didn't have anything locked down.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
We didn't have the sauce.
It was all over the place.
No, we didn't have the sauce. Now we got
Nope.
the sauce. We don't have the sauce.
There was no structure. We didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about that, because I think that could resonate with people as they venture into getting into something. What were some of the things that you tried on your own that you kind of went after it?
We didn't have a great script.
I don't think we even had a script.
I don't even think we had a script.
No, we
Were
didn't.
you trying to call them at the time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We called a few.
Yeah, we were doing a lot of postcards, different like designs on postcards, trying to be funny on postcards.
I do want to say we start off with mailers because it was passive and it was easy.
Mm-hmm.
Only because we didn't know how to cold call, and I felt like we did not have the courage or confidence,
Right.
the script, anything like that to even make the
Yeah.
calls.
I had never cold called myself.
Had you ever cold called ever in your life and other real estate leads?
I have.
Yeah.
No.
Mhm.
Yeah. What was your success at it? What was your experience cold calling?
For me, I dibble dabbled in it. It wasn't like I was calling like 3 hours a day. But it was enough for me to go out and see properties and meet sellers.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we'll fast forward. So then you girls are like, there's gotta be a better way to do probate.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that was her. That was her thing.
Yes. And then I remember you ladies, like we said before we started, this is like deja vu because I remember you both sitting in the screen. We had the real deal talk, and you guys
Yes.
started coming on.
Yes.
Were interested, and
Yes.
so you joined Absolute Top Dollar probate training. Tell me a little bit about that from like day one when you started. What did that do for, your outlook on probate and just like your strategy at that point?
When I think our first call, we weren't even in the States. We were at the airport
Yeah.
and we were so
No.
excited. Wasn't it? Yeah. we
Well,
were at
no,
the
before
airport.
remember before that. That was when we actually joined like so there was a real deal talk, and then there was the training that we're in.
Invitation to have the
Yeah.
Yes.
So the real deal was before that, remember?
Mhm.
When we were meeting with all those people. And for me, that gave me energy because I was and energy and like hunger because we were there every day. We were there every day to the point that Carolyn wasn't recognizing us.
That's when I knew. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, we made our mark.
Yeah, and those were fun because I felt like that's the beginning. Like if we felt like this was going somewhere for us. And so we were there, just like what I did with my mentor. Just take advantage of every opportunity that is in front of you if you want to continue with whatever it is that's in front of you. So we just kept coming to every meeting for those real deal talks. And it was great because it was like there was just enough information that we knew that there was more. Right. And we were still learning within those because there was people from all over the place. It was like California, like and they were also
Missouri,
sharing different information and what works with them. There was someone that voicemail and how to structure that. So it was like an online network exactly for probate where you could share information.
And I love being able to ask questions live. So whenever the real deal talk was coming on, I was like, ooh, let me write down my questions so I can ask Carolyn, ask the group. I feel like for me, that's where I learn and get the feedback. So when you opened up your program, we were like, we're joining, no questions about it. Again, I think we were at the airport during the first one or the meeting before that. We were out the country and we're like, we're not missing this.
Right.
Yeah, to that too.
Yep.
There's been a few people traveling and they don't miss it. Remember Trish?
Yeah, we were in Puerto Rico
yeah.
at one point too.
Yep.
We
Mhm.
were driving to Puerto Rico. We joined.
Yep.
Yes. So, okay. So first you started off not cold calling. So you pretty much like you dibble dabbled. Okay.
Mhm.
And you joined the program.
Mhm.
And tell me about now what your cold calling looks like now.
We cold called every day,
Yes.
every day of the week.
Every day of the week. Let's go.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so we'll won't let them have to wait to the end. How many listings have you gotten since joining the program and doing cold calling?
6,
Seven?
7,
7. Yeah.
7.
Yeah. 7 and
7
counting.
listings. That's
Yeah.
badass.
Yeah.
That is
That is.
badass. All from cold calling.
All from cold calling.
All from cold calling.
Mhm.
And tell me about that, like, because you had said that, previously you didn't really have a strategy, like you were just kind of like you knew you wanted to get in real estate, you knew you wanted to do deals, but it wasn't consistent. How has
Mhm.
this program now helped you to build out that consistency and just create to the point where you have 7 listings?
I would say the structure. So, I'll go through it real quick. First, you do the cold call, you go with the script, book the consultation, and if, we're all good with that, we go out, meet them, sign a listing agreement. If all goes well, bada bing, bada boom, right? And the second part is accountability. When people show up for you, you got to show up for them too, not only for yourself, but for everybody else. And when, I know like, oh, like you're on the call, Sabrina's on the call, I better be on that call too.
Mm-hmm.
So that really helps. Mhm.
Yes. And so in the training, you learn the absolute top dollar script,
Mhm.
right? How has that tell us a little bit about that now with your cold calls?
It's gold. Sorry. Not only is it great, we've obviously had some practice with it now. We feel 100% much more comfortable than the first day. The first day was like, I felt like we had to work our way to say it the way, right? Because
Yeah.
it's not something that was usual for us.
Yeah, it wasn't natural.
But now it's natural. Now you kind of put your style into it, but still answer the same thing. And
Yeah,
yeah,
because
because
a
it's just
script is
direction.
just, yeah,
It's
it's
just
just like
direction.
a structure, a framework, but
Yeah,
it's how you deliver it
right.
and the confidence you have behind it. And how do you get more confidence? By keep doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. So maybe for the people on here, walk us through your first deal. So I can still remember my first deal, when I went out on my own and it was through a cold call, and I booked the guy and I was like, "Oh my gosh, is this real? Is this happening right now?" So tell us how that went down, your first listing that you got from cold calling.
So I remember cold calling this guy on the dialer, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm looking to sell." And I was like, "What?" It was so easy. I didn't have to persuade him, nothing. He just goes, "Yeah." And I'm like, okay, well, so then we went and did the consultation, and then he goes, "Yeah, you can go to see the property." And I'm like, "Okay, tomorrow?"
We never met him.
Till this
Even till this
day,
day,
we
in
never
person,
met
we
the
never met
guy.
him.
We never met the guy. And he goes, "Yeah, there are some tenants there. They're really troublesome. I can't seem to get them out. There's this reverse mortgage." And that's when we were like, "Oh my gosh, what even is this situation?" So we bring it to you, and you basically walked us through it. And you were like, "Take the deal, learn from it, whatever happens." So we go to the property tour. The guy didn't even show up because he was so scared of the tenants. The tenants didn't even open the door.
And we knocked. We were like,
We knocked.
and we were still hesitating on
Yeah.
knocking because it's our first
Mhm.
one. Like, what were we gonna do? Go door knock? And we both door knocked before,
Yeah.
but we still like.
Yeah. So then we called the guy. We're like, "Listen, they didn't come to the door." And he was like, "Yeah, sometimes they get violent." So I was scared because I was like,
we had pepper spray. We started
we
carrying
had pepper spray, just, self-defense in case. And we got the tenants' numbers. We called them. We're like, "Hey, listen, this is the situation." The guy goes, oh my gosh, yes, please come help us sell this house. We wanted to move last month. It was completely different story. We go meet them, and this guy, the tenants, are giving us the full tour. He's like, whatever you need, we'll help you. Please take pictures. Whenever the open house is, we'll leave the house, give you space. And it was like, what?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
easy.
The most important part there was that we were the middle person though.
Mhm.
Because if they were allowed to talk to each other, they would have never sold the property.
Yeah.
Because they were just two different people. I mean, it's a family, right? And so
Yeah.
with probate, you're dealing with families and
Mhm.
sometimes even with our own families, which there's arguments. So
Yeah.
you have to, make sure and kind of be that middle person that kind of separates and gets the job done.
Mhm.
Yeah. But and on top of that, we didn't even know what to do with the property because the property wasn't in the best condition. And we took our own pictures, which we still sold. We sold it. We still sold it. And we helped them get into a property in a week because we hustled because it was our first one. We were like hungry. We were doing everything that we could so it could be
Mhm.
successful.
Yeah.
And it was. So
Wow, and I remember that, and it's and that's what I enjoy too with the group is like seeing you girls develop, and
yeah.
you'd be like, is this a real deal? Like, is this, and a normal realtor, they would just pass right by that deal, because they get on the phone with the guy and the guy's like, oh, I have tenants in there and they're not gonna do nothing and I can't sell the property and I can't do nothing with it. And then, I told you, tell him if you can deal with the tenants, if you can
Mhm.
deal with it, can we do business together? The guy said yes to you, right?
Mhm.
He says, yeah, when you got your first listing agreement. And then, just as the story's always told, the people in the house are totally fine. And they were thankful that you showed up.
Mhm.
And they were thankful that were able to bring them to the other side. So that was really, really beautiful. So take us through now because you guys have been in the program about 6 months now. You've taken 7 listings. Tell me about your step-by-step process that you ladies now have as now being a probate realtor. Take us kind of through your step-by-steps and your day-to-day.
So we have a schedule. So
Mhm.
first we have a call schedule on our calendars. So that tells us who's calling on that day. And then whoever's calling that day basically calls on that day. And um
And the other person either checks the list, cleans it up, does mailers, get
yeah,
the leads. Yeah.
prospecting.
Mhm.
Are you
Um
those, buying leads or you're getting your leads from your local courthouse?
we're getting them from our courthouse.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So you pull your list how often?
Weekly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We pull it weekly to use. We are on it as much as possible.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Getting all the updates.
Yes.
Yep.
It's
So you
better.
basically pull your list, then you're using a dialer, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So then we import it into a dialer. And then in the dialer we organize it certain ways so that we know what we're calling, by Monday, this is what we're calling, Tuesday, this is what we're calling, Wednesday, this is what we're calling, and so forth. But then within Mojo, they're also broken up.
Okay, great. And so then you're reaching out to them through the dialer.
Mhm.
You get someone on the line and you do what?
Read the script.
Mhm.
So you book an appointment, right?
Yep. And
Uh,
then
that's the number one job, right? While we're on the
yes,
dialer, is to book
yes,
the appointment.
yes. And
Yes.
then yeah, and then we book the appointment, and then the appointment is there as kind of like to what's the word, qualify the lead,
Mhm.
right? And then we go for it. It's usually we know by the end of that consultation if we're sending out a listing agreement or if we're going on a property tour. If we're going on a property tour, we're like not wasting our time. It's someone that's like ready to go.
Yeah. Have there been times where we gone on property tours, then realized like we'll send a listing agreement, but
Mhm.
we, you kind of already know like it may not be a best fit.
Mm-hmm. We know now what to look for.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes. And so once you basically do that property tour, you send out the listing agreement. What has been your experience with, the sales process? Like from cold call to getting the listing, like how quick or how long has that process been in your perspective?
Fast.
Yes.
We try to do it within 24 hours from seeing the
It
property as much as
it
possible.
depends, yeah, and it depends on the leads and their situation. It's been as fast as we do the cold call, the next day we do the consultation, and that same weekend we get the property tour and the listing agreement. And the following week we go live. So it's been
Yeah.
as fast as like 2 weeks from a cold call.
Yep.
And the longest so far has been, I want to say like 2.5 months from a cold call to live on the market.
Yeah, and to Nancy's point, everybody's in a different situation. Sometimes they're, the case might be a little complicated, so it doesn't make sense to start right away. But within that time, you're also building rapport with the person, right? You're building that relationship so that like one, you're building the relationship to continue on, and so they're not, questioning your work and whatnot. So that's one thing. If it ever takes too long, but for me, I try to, me personally, try to get it done quick.
Yeah. And that's what I love. That's what I love about probate, and that's what I love about cold calling, because like, you've done mailers before, you've sent out mail, and with cold calling, we're in that cold calling room together. We book one live, boom, we just booked him. We have the consultation the next day, right? And then we can be getting a listing agreement signed, 2 days later. And
Mhm.
that's it. Like from beginning to end, now you've got a new deal,
Mhm.
whereas with a lot of other strategies in real estate, it's a lot more passive, So if you send out the mailers, that's great. You sent out all these mailers, but now you're like sitting there waiting,
Right.
phone to ring. So, putting it into your hands and just being like, boom, just go and get the listing. So tell me, how do you ladies see your future now? Like, when we started the call, you were saying about how you didn't really know and you were kind of like dibble dabbling and, this and that. How do you feel now? How does your future look into, scaling this and continuing to work in probate? What does that look like for you girls?
I think for us is now that we're kind of into it, is working on our process, making it cleaner, making it smoother, and then from there going on into some of the other counties that we obviously can't reach, right? Because we can only do so much where we are, and then reaching out to some of these other areas in Massachusetts and then nearby, states, so that we can keep expanding and also just teaching people how to do this as well.
Mm-hmm. One thing we didn't touch on that I'd like to say is what's been your experience with how much, legal part of probate have you actually had to deal with in the 7 new listings that you've taken in? How has that been with the legal part of probate? How has that interacted with the sales process?
It definitely helps in guiding the personal representatives. Like before we meet them, we already look into the case. We already know the situation based on the courts. Like we know if the person passed away, if they had a will or not, and what that means in terms of selling the real estate. So we are able to guide them like on the timeline. And that comes into play too during the consultation where we ask them like, oh, how many heirs there are? Is everybody getting along? Because that also helps with the timeline, whether or not everybody's working together, we're gonna just, it'll be a smooth sale or expect like some delays.
Yeah.
So I think knowing and understanding the legal process of it definitely helps.
And it also helps when we interact with the attorneys,
Mhm.
because they don't have to explain to us what's happening. Obviously, if we have like one question or something like that, but for the most part, the attorneys that we've come into contact with, we've been in par with them as far as what's needed for the transaction.
Right. And so in probate, in Massachusetts, that same law and everything that you ladies are learning is throughout the entire state.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, like, when you were talking about scaling out to other counties and things like
Yeah.
that, that's where really it creates an opportunity that you can partner with agents, right,
Right.
in
Right.
your state,
Right.
and really work with agents outside of your area, especially since now you ladies have quite a lot of skin in the game and you have a lot of experience.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's agents in your state of Massachusetts that wanted to get into probate,
Mm-hmm.
that's something that you're open to, right? Is to
Mm-hmm.
working with other agents that are interested in probate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be, yeah, girl, I'm gonna be putting all of your ladies' information below in this chat so that people can get in touch with you. They're interested in probate, if they're interested in working with you in Massachusetts. And, I think you ladies have a really beautiful story of, how you started. It really resonates with a lot of people because this is how we all kind of get into real estate. You're wanting something more than the 9 to 5. And the fact that you love probate, obviously I love that you love probate. But probate is for certain people, right? Not
Right.
every agent is meant to be a probate agent.
Right.
It definitely takes a certain personality, a certain skills and strengths of really wanting to serve and help people. Sometimes in not so good situations, right, where families are not getting along and things like that. And so, if there is any agents watching this video and they want to partner with Nancy and Sabrina, their information is going to be listed below where you can reach out to them directly, book a call with them, and see what opportunities they have to partner with these two amazing ladies. Okay. And they're in the probate group. So if you join the group, you're going to meet them there. Okay. And it's cool because now you girls are also leaders in the group, because you have the experience now. And it's people like you that just bring so much joy to me because it literally is transferring what, I've done, and just giving it over and just saying, wow, like you just went out there, you did it, you're crushing it. And you guys, there's a lot of success that's coming from both of you. So congratulations to everything you've already accomplished and to all the future success. I know there's a lot more coming. So thank you, ladies, so much for being here. And
No, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Carolyn. Thank you, Carolyn.
okay, awesome. Thank you everyone for joining, and we'll see you on the next video.